Hello, my name's John. This is a conversion video and you're watching Wargames Models and At The Hobbies. Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a conversion using parts from the Necromunda Ironhead Squat Prospectors box set, as well as the Leagues of Voltan Grimnar, apologies if I've pronounced it wrong. Really like the look of this model. It reminds me, and it's meant to obviously, of the old Squat Ancient. What I want to do is combine this model with parts of the Ironhead Squats to create either a bounty hunter or an important figure for my Necromunda Squat Prospectors. So, to start with, let's open up this box and have a look at what we've got. Flying stands for the little robots, which I'm not actually going to use. Some bases and the instructions themselves. So what I'm looking to do straight away is build the main body of this character. I'm not going to have it floating on the rocks as it's doing in this. I want it to be just walking in the open. So when I get to that stage with the rocks, I'm going to trim them down slightly so they sit on a normal base. And then the main part of the conversion is most likely going to be the hands and the backpack. But let's get started and put the main part of the body together. So I want to do more conversions on camera over the next few months. It's something that I've seen quite popular in my videos, being me talk about my conversions, so no better place than to do them on the channel. So the plan is, whenever I come up with any, is to try and film the whole process so you get to see it. And as you've probably already gathered, whenever I do a conversion, it takes a long time for me to get around to painting it. So hopefully with a kind of encouragement of you guys, I'll actually get on and paint a few things rather than have lots of grey and primed plastic about the place. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what's hopefully going to be quite a large amount of Necromunda models coming out again soon, with the announced release of Hive Secundus. It's quite interesting that it's being called a Zone Necromunda game. So I'm kind of thinking, does that mean we're going to have lots of smaller games set in Necromunda come out, or are they testing the water to see if it's going to be popular or not? To be honest, I don't mind either way, as long as it's not silly money, as the price of many of these things are going, unfortunately, but that's the way of things. It would be nice for there to be a kind of almost a price cap on the hobby. Sometimes I do think that you get priced out of certain things. There is a selection of Necromunda models that I want to get, but they are quite overpriced in my view. So I'm going to see if I can start building proxy models, and I'll do it here on the channel. We shall see where that goes. Right, let's get part 3 and part 4. Recently as well, I answered a viewer's question on a video. I really enjoyed making that video on that, answering that question, and I'd really love to do more of those. So if you ever have any questions and would like me to try and answer them, please go ahead, drop it in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. I try and interact with as many of the comments as I get, but sometimes some slip through the net. But it is nice to kind of be in contact with those people who take the time to view my videos. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone who takes the time to watch my videos. I know not every single one gets lots of views, but occasionally I get a surprise and get quite a few views on the channel. And then at the moment I'm only doing 2 videos a week, but if I get the time I wouldn't mind to produce more of them, but it's all about time. Right, let's piece this together. It's quite a nice, well made, well designed model, this one. And it's all the seams are mixed in with the clothing and where it sits on there. Keep dropping it. I've gone and stuck these on the wrong way around. On the instructions it says this bit's first and the other bit's second. So let me try and shunt this out the way and put this back in. That's a bit annoying, should have paid attention. So I was looking at it, seeing the little number 1 and the number 2 on the instructions. Ooh. Let's take my time. Seeing that little number 1 and the number 2 on the instructions and not paying it much attention. One thing I do like about the plastic models though is because you're not using super glue, CA glue, you do have that little bit of time to adjust them if you notice that something's gone on wrong. Whereas with the super glue you do end up with something a little bit more permanent very quickly. That's okay, that kind of fixed itself quite nicely. Okay. And that's it for a little bit. So we need to find part number 5, which is the cloak. So I do actually have some classic squat models that if you'd like to see me do a build with those, please drop it in the comments, even if not a build but a kind of a run through of those little old models. My collection is all over the place at the moment as I've been sorting things out, so I keep finding various boxes with things in that I kind of think, oh, I forgot that I had that. I think I should get round to making it or something like that. So, okay, let's have a look at how this. Okay, so that sits on. Okay. So yeah, the idea of this conversion came about mainly from just looking on the Warhammer website and seeing this model itself and liking the look of it, but as I don't have a Leagues of Votan army, I kind of wanted to justify why I'd get it for myself. I do get individual models now and again. Then I thought actually it'd make a nice conversion for my Necromunda Squats. Now what I want to do at this point, I just want to see how the size compares to one of my squats. So here is one of my squats that I haven't finished yet. Let's bring it up to the camera. So I've gone for an orange paint scheme on these guys. Still need to do their equipment, their weapons and their bases. But looking at this, looks like a similar size, so it's not going to look too unusual. So looking at this, 7 and 6 are the feet on the rocks. So what I'm going to do is clip them off, then have a look at the rocks themselves and how I can clip them to have it looking more as if it's walking across ground of the ash wastes rather than flying, as I don't want this guy necessarily to be a psychic as he is in the model itself. So I'm going to dry fit it first. Which way does it go? Okay. Right, I'm going to glue the feet in and then I'm going to trim them down to fit. So overall this isn't a major conversion, this is just adjusting the way that it's standing as well as doing a hand and a backpack swap. Is that pointing in the right direction? Yeah, that looks like it is. The legs actually have a bit of play in them, which means their position could go in a few directions. Okay. It's a really nice, I've already said it, really well designed kind of model, this one. Oop, don't put the foot the wrong way around there. So looking at that, what I'm going to do is trim it here and here just to get that flat plane of rocks, and then on the base itself I'll probably build it up with a bit of green stuff anyway. So I'm going to wait for a little bit for that to dry before I clip it. So the next step is going to be having a look at the hands and how I'm going to swap those over. So there is the hand holding the staff as well as the outstretched hand there. Let's have a look at the parts from the Prospector's kit. So I'm thinking, for what was the outstretched hand holding their palm up, I'm going to go with a pistol from this kit. So looking at them, let's see which ones we've got. So there is those two, what looks like a stub gun. Okay. And also there is the choice of the hammer to replace the staff. Pistol was okay. Let's cut the arm off that has the outstretched hand, and then we're going to have a look to see what needs to be adjusted on that one to make this work. Okay. So when this goes in place there. Okay, so looking at the way the hand outstretches, actually having a pistol on there isn't going to cause too many issues. Or do I leave it with this hand? It's quite iconic, looking like it's Okay, let's cut all the arms out ready and have a look. This is the bit that I kind of ponder over whenever I'm doing conversions. Is right, what do I cut off, what do I get rid of? Because like I said, they're not cheap, all these models. I do find using the secondary retailers with discounts often helps. So although I'm still buying Games Workshop stuff, I'm not buying it from Games Workshop, I'm buying it from a distributor, which sometimes gets some nice little discounts. So that's okay. I think what I'm going to need to do, let's also cut the head off that I want to use. So I'm going to use the hooded head for this conversion. I just like the way that it looks, and I think that's pretty much it from that sprue, as the other bits I'm going to use are all going to come from the Prospector's sprue. Okay, so yeah, that head's okay. So what I'm going to do is trim these rocks down and then definitely keep them for the bits box. Okay. Probably shouldn't have stuck the feet on first, actually, but it's okay. I'll be able to tidy them up. There we go, that bit popped off. Just checking, still got my fingers. Okay. So let's get the rest of these ones off. There we go. Okay. So let's. This foot is quite wobbly from the glue still not having gone off. So that's. Okay, that's standing okay though, which is fine. So I'm going to get one of the bases from the Squat Prospector kit. And I'm going to sit it on one of these bases, and then what I will do is with Milliput and possibly some of the bits that I've just cut off, build up the edges slightly. No, I quite like that sitting on there. Let's just having a look at where to shave that down. So with these conversion videos that I'm doing, similar to my real-time painting videos, I want to try and do as little edits on them as possible. Obviously you have to tidy a few bits up if I get distracted doing other bits and pieces. This character, let's have a think about their background. The Squat Prospectors on Necromunda are ancestors of the squats that were, I think if I'm remembering rightly, the squats that were brought in to help build things at a period of time, and they've ended up becoming a subclass in Necromunda. and in the ash wastes were introduced with the whole range of characters, whereas before that there were just the odd bounty hunter and weaponsmith. Okay, I like the way that that's sitting there. Let's just double check it against one of my other squats. Yeah, the height is just added to by those rocks, and as you can see, this squat has a rock underneath it there, so quite happily works. Whoops. Always impatient I am when it comes to moving things around with glue on them. Let's hold that in place. Right. Let's always be patient when you're doing this. I just wanted to show you guys it next to another one, and let's leave that for a little bit. Okay, so one thing that I'm going to think about on the back of this guy, obviously I'm not putting the little League of Voltan detail on the backpack. What I'm going to do is actually use one of the backpacks from the Squat Prospectors to start tying them together. Having a look at them, they all look very similar on there. So what I do want to have a look at, there is, if I can find, there we go. So part 56 and 55 are, I think it's a rock burner, which, okay, so it goes, so I'm going to use the backpack that has the rock burner on it, which is part 51, because I might add that rock burner to this guy. So as his character goes, I'm thinking he's either going to be a bounty hunter or just an ancient prospector. Maybe he's started having a bit of a psychic awakening or not to be an ancient, but whatever that is, it doesn't bother me if he's psychic or not. Which way around is that's it. Okay, so I think that backpack is too big in that situation. So what I probably will do, I'm probably going to trim it down to only be part of the backpack. So I'll put that to one side for now. So bits that I'm going to replace: backpack, arm, the head itself. I can stick the head in place, so that is in place. I haven't looked at the camera once at the moment, so I'm hoping that all of this has been in shot. Apologies if it's not. Okay. So I'm just having a quick look in the instructions to see if it does say. Okay, so I want one of the bolt pistols, which is, it's going to be arm 44 with one of these bolt pistols. And having a look at the comparison on the hands, that's okay. They are similar sizes. So I was never sure when I started this idea for this conversion whether the Prospector parts were going to be compatible with the Leagues of Voltan parts, but the sizes are very similar. So what I'm going to do is cut the whole arm off just behind the glove there, and then likewise on the other one chop it off just by the glove there. and then stick them all on. So let's start with, I don't mind about losing the rest of this arm, but I want to keep that hand. So I'm going to do a little bit of, let's just go straight for the scalpel on this. It's quite a thick bit of material. I just need to be careful while I do this. I don't want to do anything stupid like cut my finger. And I've gone and said it now, haven't I? Okay, let's do a bit on this side. Right, let's see if I can trim any of this with these trimmers. Right, I've mangled it a little bit, but nothing a bit of green stuff won't sort out later on. That's a bit annoying, never mind. Okay. So I'll be more careful with this hand. Okay, that's okay, there we go. Let's put that hand to one side. Right, let's glue these bits in. Hopefully it's not going to make the arm look out of place. But you can never tell until you put it in whether it's going to work or not. I do like this thin Tamiya glue. Kind of fills the gaps as it makes a bit of a plastic sludge. Okay, so I need to trim that gun arm slightly. Okay. Actually, I might not need to do some green stuff work later on. I just need to tidy up the edge of this glove. So please let me know if you like these types of videos where it's not uncut, it's just as it happens. I quite like the idea of showing everything that happens, rather than on some videos you kind of have cuts that are really important and would show you things that are happening. But oh, I do like that now actually. I like that, holding out the bolt pistol outstretched. Okay, so looking at the other arm, let's have a look at this hammer arm. Let's just trim that off. Do I make him a gunslinger? Just looking at this, I'm going to get that other bolt pistol and have a look at what it looks like roughly next to it. It's kind of changed my idea for this conversion midway. I quite like the idea of them having two. I'm going bolt pistols. Yep, we're going 2 bolt pistols rather than a staff. Yeah, this'll Yes, I like that. Okay, so let's trim this glove. Okay, I'm learning from the last one. I'm gonna not worry about saving the arm. Let's trim this off bit by bit. So that's what it often happens whenever I'm doing conversions. I'll have an initial plan and then it'll change. And don't fear that when you're doing conversions. If you suddenly think, actually this looks better, or actually I don't want to do that, you don't have to do it. It's your own, it's your hobby. It's your project. You can do pretty much exactly what you want with it. The one thing that does stop it occasionally is if you don't have the parts. But I'd also say don't fear putting something on hold until you can get hold of the bit that you actually need. I've made that mistake in the past when I've thought, oh, I don't have that piece, let's just make it like this anyway. And then I've kind of regretted it. And that's the one thing you shouldn't have in the hobby, is regret. It's your hobby, you should have fun. So that's why it's quite nice having these uncut. You wouldn't have seen me change my mind if this was a cut video. It would have just suddenly been, there he is with two guns. But already in my head I'm thinking that this character is a wanderer of the wastes and then steps in when needed. Okay, so what I am going to need to do is, off the staff hand, is just cut the elbow off so I can fit it to the other bolt pistol glove. So I just need to work out the best way of doing this. I'm going to have to work out also how to move my camera slightly so it gives me a bit more space. Okay, so that is, let's put this in place first. Okay, so that sits in there like that. Okay. So yeah, I like the fact when you're doing a conversion like this, how the conversion gets some of its character and life while you are modelling it, and you start to get an idea for the story behind it. So now, there we go. It looks like this guy's wandering into a place, guns blazing, the wind's blowing, his cloak's flowing in the wind. Oh, I do like that. It's like with the kind of the Leagues of Voltan kind of squat, what are they? Markings, hieroglyphs, that kind of thing. Looks like this guy's cherishing the old ways on Necromunda, whereas all the other prospectors are kind of just getting down to digging holes in the ground and whatnot. Okay, really happy with this so far. I'm just going to have a look, see if there's one of these other rocks I can stick down. So this one, let's just trim a bit off this rock, because while I'm sticking bits down, it's quite nice just to stick another rock in place. Okay. So I will have to do some green stuff on the base later on. other arm though while I've been doing this. Patience. I need patience when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I get too excited and I just got to let the glue dry a little bit. Okay. That's it. Actually, no. Let's get some glue onto this rock now to hold it in place. There we go. So while there's a bucket of glue on that rock, I'm just going to move it to where I want it to be. Just hold it down with the knife for a little bit. Okay, so while these are drying, let's look at editing the backpack. So, okay, spin this round. So I'm thinking, let's have a little look at. So this is the backpack that goes on this character before, which is very Leagues of Voltan with that look. But I want to go for the more, keep dropping it. I want to go with the more industrial look of one of the backpacks of this. And I reckon all I'm going to do is basically cut it in half. So cut that bit off, and that bit's just going to be the backpack on there. Yes, there's a little bit of an inset just here, but I don't think you're going to see that, and it's not going to take away much of the detail. So one thing I have noticed while I had it that way round is a bit that pistol's been bent. Let's just move that back. That's okay. And also that arm has moved a bit. Let's get a bit of glue in this before I move any further. There we go. Right, while that glue's all going off, let's trim this backpack. Okay, I'm going to take this quite far back and just cut down with my blade. Always be careful when you're cutting like that with a scalpel. Take your time, don't force it too much, although you will need to put a bit of pressure on it. Okay, so let's spin this round and have a look at what it looks like on there. Oh, that kind of that works, doesn't it? Kind of works. Let's trim a few little bits to help it fit in place. So I hope this is appearing okay on camera. I might have to have my camera closer in future videos. I'm kind of still getting used to a lot of my kit. I treated myself to kind of a new setup for holding things in place, a little microphone, that kind of thing. Okay. Just want to tack this in place. Okay, so that top section, just going to need to trim that back. Basically, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this in, and then I might have to sculpt or add a little bit of detail to the backpack to make it work with what I've got envisaged for it. Yeah, I'm going to have to add a little bit of pipe work or something. For now, no, that's okay. Okay, so there is that little backpack on there. Right, let's have a look at what there is on the sprue that I could add detail with. So straight away, let's have a... It's a really nice sprue, this Prospector one, because it's got loads of bits and pieces on it. So I'm just having a look at what parts there are to be able to kind of tie things together. It might be that I use just a little bit of... You know what? I think I've worked out what I'm going to do. Hang on. Let's go in the drawer next to me. Okay, there is styrene, some more styrene, and some more styrene. We'll fill out the drawer there. So I'm going to have to do a video of my setup where I do my hobby, as I'm working out how to have everything close at hand. But what I'm thinking, yep, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So with some of this thicker styrene rod, let's just roll a piece on the blade and flatten that out. Right, let's go for about 4 or 5 mil. Okay, there we go. Okay, don't have any sandpaper to hand, so I'm going to just try and square this off with my blade, and this blade is getting blunt now. I've lost the tip of it as well. But that's okay. So what I want to do, let's stick this bit in place where I'm thinking to add it. Okay. Oops. And then I think that's the bit I want. Let's go for about that much. And it's something to slightly adjust the profile of this guy. If it doesn't glue properly, what I will have to do is wait for the glue to go off and then drill this, but I reckon it's going to be okay. So it ends up being almost like an antenna, part of a scanning system or something like that. So I'm just going to hold this for a little while. Not the most thrilling part of the video, but hey. Oh no, that's not going to work. Let's. I might make that shorter. Kind of think I've gone a little bit. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to leave it that length actually for now. Adds something different to. So whenever I make my models, I always think of their profile and what they look like. And that little aerial, I really quite like the look of that. Okay, so I think I'm going to need one of the belt pouches or something from this just to add the right look, and as there is quite a lot of belt, might trim one down. What choices have we got? So there is, oh, it's going to have to be the pouch for the scanner. It's going to have to be that one. Just giving this character a little bit more tech to tie in with that whole squat aesthetic. Okay. Let's have a look at how that. Ooh. Right, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to change my blade. And oh, there we go. I hope I haven't run out of blades. Hang on. No, there's one. Remember to take the empty wrappers out of my side just here. So the reason why I want a fresh blade is that with the point of the blade I can stick it into the piece here. I can hold it on. Yep, that's where it's going to go. Okay, let's think about how I'm going to put this on without getting glue everywhere. Alright, let's run a little bit of glue on there. Then I'm going to run a little bit of glue on there. Probably did that off camera, so I apologise. And then let's just manhandle that into place. I could have filed some of that belt down beforehand. I'm not going to worry. No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to trim off the tools from this side of the pouch. Quick adjustment to the plan. Okay, let's jab that onto here. Let's get some glue on the back there. Okay, run glue behind. And then these little tools, I think these could go somewhere, couldn't they? Well, I'll leave those to one side for now. Okay, let's have a little tidy up. Okay, so I'm going to call it now. Here is my wandering gunslinging squat conversion for Necromunda, now built. I'll put some photos at the end so it gives you a bit of a closer view of all of the bits and pieces. But for now, I hope you've liked this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want any more content like these, please drop a comment. I appreciate any comments that I get, appreciate any likes. If you'd like to follow the channel, just click on the follow. But for now, like I said, thanks for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.